Hello to everyone. Thank you all for joining me at this time. My name is Shavi Zane, and I'm coming on to bring a message in regards to the recent law that has been established in Illinois called the Safety Act. Okay, now this particular Safety Act is has been created where they said is to eliminate cash bail. Okay, this is supposed to be the reason for establishing this particular law. And so there's been a lot of uproar. You have two sides here. On one side, they claim that officers and judges are very concerned because it will first eliminate the cash bail. It will strip judges of their important role and responsibility to both defendants and public by actively preventing them from applying law accordingly. It will create it will make it more difficult to prosecute crimes, and officers will have to seek guidance or permission to arrest in order to avoid liability. So these are the concerns that the so-called people of the judicial system have. Then they also claim that they're concerned that it's going to increase the crime rate and that more people in Illinois will be in danger because now they do not have the protective covering of the police force. Now I'm going to tell you all what I strongly believe this means. We're going to get into the cards. I'm going to pull from my 48 Laws of Power to see what's really behind the agenda, because as you all know, there's always a reason that these people televise things, okay? I personally believe that what is happening is these people are losing their power and they're having to let the world know that they are losing it. But of course, they're not going to just come out and blatantly tell you that they're losing their power. No, they're doing a pulse check. And in this pulse check, they're trying to see, they want to see how the public will respond. Are the people going to come begging them for their assistance? Are the people going to come and say, well, without you, we're nothing. Without you, we are in danger. Without you, there is no safety, right? They're doing a pulse check on the people to see where are you at in terms of your consciousness. Have you awakened to the agenda of these people? Do you see clearly the dangers that they actually present to you? Or do you believe that absent their presence, you are in more danger? Now, specifically though, I'm directing this particular message concerning the melanated people. When we're talking about the crimes of the police force, we all know that the melanated man, woman, and child has been the least protected, has been the least safe, and have been the most targeted. And so when you consider that there is a so-called law, and I say that very loosely because these people are not, they do not possess the authority to create law. What they can create is statutes and policies. This is a business. The U.S. corporation is a business. And so when you come onto a land that is not rightfully yours and you enforce certain statutes and policies and say, well, you have to abide by this or else you will lose your life or something will happen to your family, those are not the people who was technically supposed to be in a position to create law on this land here in America. It was forced upon the people. And so the so-called statute or policy that they have made here concerning the safety law, people are, it's a pulse check to see if the people trust them. Are the people still going to clamor after them and beg them? What they're checking to see is if Stockholm Syndrome still exists. And so some of you may be very familiar with the term Stockholm Syndrome, and some of you may not. So I'll just read it for those of you who are not. So this is feelings of trust or affection felt in many cases of kidnapping or hostage taking by a victim towards a captor. An example would be people who are kidnapped or taken hostage often feel threatened by their captor, but they are also highly reliant on them for their survival. Okay? So what I call this safety law is reverse psychology of the enemy. Because what they're trying to do is to see if the majority, specifically the melanated people, are still in this energy of feeling empathy for the captor. Are you feeling like your survival depends on their authority within the land? They want to see how awakened are you really. We're moving into the year number 7. 2023 is the year number 7. And the year number 7 deals with, it deals with seeking the truth. It deals with seeking wisdom. It deals with perfection and dignity. And so you're going to be in this energy of aligning yourself spiritually. The majority are going to be seeking the truth. You may find yourself already in the energy of being at a crossroads when it comes to your spirituality. But in year number 7, you're really going to be seeking like, okay, well, what is really the truth here? And so it's not just spiritually that you will be seeking the truth, but you're also going to be just seeking the truth in general, because we're in the age of Aquarius. And so people, this is the time of the reveal. And so the fact of the matter is, the U.S. corporation is losing their grip concerning their power over the masses. And because they are very egotistical and very prideful, these people will not come out and and tell you straightforward and direct, we have lost our position, and so this is our way of stepping down. No, they're going to do it little by little. They're going to give you tidbits here and a little bit there. And this is why some of the people were specifically saying, well, this is going to strip the judges of their important role and responsibility to both defendants and the public by actively preventing them from applying law accordingly. But like I said, last time I checked, they had no business applying any law, okay? Because technically they're not supposed to be here on this land. Their corporation was never meant to be created, but it was created underneath bloodshed and deception. Kidnapping, deception, theft, bloodshed, okay? And so because of this, these people want to see where you stand. How much do you really know about the U.S. corporation? How much of our secrets have gotten out to the masses? Okay? How much do you really know? Okay? And so what's happening is you see all of these videos that's coming out because somehow the term purge got attached to this particular law that has been passed in Illinois. And so now you have many people making videos saying, well, it's the purge now. If you've seen the movie, that was, they made days where they permitted people to go out and to commit crime without any repercussion. They gave them, I believe it was like a 48-hour period to just go out and purge and to commit all of the crime that you possibly could. And so no one was safe, right? And so these movies are always strategically created to subconsciously place a thought, a belief, a fear in your mind, so that when they come and they bring these things forward, you automatically go back into those records that have been kept, those records that you might have suppressed after watching these movies, and you say, oh, it's the purge. Oh my goodness, I'm not safe. Oh my goodness, it's getting ready to be this and it's getting ready to be that. But the fact of the matter is, the purge existed when these people came over here and created their current structure, the U.S. corporation. The purge has existed for quite some time now. These people have been purging for a long time now, committing crimes, and the public, the general public, has not been safe from these people. But see, it's the reverse psychology of the enemy to make you believe that your captor, your kidnapper, the true thief, the true criminal is the one that is going to protect you. It is the one that's going to, that you're going to be able to go to when you need, because you're in survival mode. See, they create the scenario, they create the trauma, and then they come in and tell you they're going to heal you from that trauma. Okay? And so it's all mind play. And if you're not awakened, then you will be the first one running to the polls when it's time for election to say, oh, we have to get rid of this person. We got to get rid of that person because they're creating laws or policies or statutes that's working against our survival, is working against our safety. But see, one of the major things that melanated people specifically need to consider is that we have never been safe when it comes to the so-called authority and the police force around this nation, within this nation. We've never been safe. And they have televised it over and over again to remind us of this fact. But what they're waiting for is for a group of our people to come in and say, we fear for our lives. This is a pulse check, y'all. Keep that in mind and know that these people always have an agenda behind an agenda behind an agenda. And what they're going to do is they're going to give you a taste. This is a test because I guarantee you, Illinois will not be the only state that enacts this particular policy or statute. It's going to be many other states until finally the U.S. corporation will have to release their grip completely off of the people. And it's going to be very clear and apparent that these people do not possess authority because they never did from the beginning. The only authority that they possessed was the authority that we gave them in the energy of fear. So one thing that they're also hoping will happen as a result of this is that they'll put you back to sleep. They'll put you back into this energy of fear. And this is why they have all of these people coming onto the news stations and so-called police officers and different representatives saying, well, I fear for the people of Illinois. I fear that they will not be safe and that all of these criminals will be running rampant in the streets and we can't do anything about it. Fact of the matter is, the whole time they were the true criminals. But when you was in a sleep state, you could not see that. You saw your neighbor as being the criminal. Not saying that there's not true crime that's happening in Illinois, because Chicago is like at the top of the list when it comes to crimes being committed across the nation. But at the same time, consider that the true criminals are the ones that created the system, and that they are not, their agenda has never been to keep the public safe. Their agenda has always been to enslave, to maintain power, and to maintain wealth. The prison system has created billions and billions of dollars for the U.S. corporation. And so they have strategically created environments specifically for the melanated man, woman, and child that would culminate or that would create the energy of crime. Okay, it was a strategic act of these people to place us in an environment and to create a mental state, to create mental anguish. Okay, to create post-traumatic slave syndrome so that we would ultimately work up against one another, and we would ultimately have this anger, all of that aggression and that indignation, that righteous indignation would never be directed towards the true enemy, but instead we would always direct it towards one another, because if we directed it towards the enemy, then they would come and wreak havoc, right? And so this is where they knew that they was setting the stage. They was creating the environment, okay? So let's get right into what is the agenda, okay? I'm going to pull just a few cards, and then I want to get right into my book here so that we can clearly see, because when you stay 1,000 steps ahead, seeing this thing through your spiritual eyes, then it's like, okay, yeah, you're not going to get me, because they want to get you in the voting. They want to get you in line again. They want you to believe in the system again. They want you to believe that you need the system, okay? So this is no longer something where they want you to feel like it's an option. No, they want you to feel like your survival depends on it, okay? Look at that. We have religion, and then we have fear. Religion, and then fear. So they might very well find a way to include the religious aspect. They might find a way to use religion whether it's certain pastors that might come forward and say, hey, you know, the crime rate is high. We're in danger. We need the police force. We need them to be by our side. They might use religious leaders to come forward and to further incite fear surrounding this so-called policy that's been enacted. But remember, the only thing that these people are doing is coming forward with a thick packet of paper that's supposed to have all of this stuff written down on it. It ain't nothing but a bunch of words and paper. Words and paper. These people are doing nothing but presenting to you words and paper. Okay? There's no substance to it unless we actually give it our energy. It holds no merit and it holds no weight unless we give them permission. You see what I'm saying? And so they know that they have to get our permission in order to establish certain things and in order to keep their system going. And so fear is the number one thing, as well as religion. So maybe, because remember, I told you we're moving into year 7. That's the year of spirituality, where you come into that crossroads in terms of which direction you're supposed to be going, and you become the seeker. You're no longer just passively allowing people to condition you with belief systems based on what your grandmother or your mother or your grandfather, great-grandfather, grandmother told you. You are now seeking for yourself. And so I feel like they want to deter you. They want to distract you from your own evolutionary process. And so as long as you're in this energy of fear, what you'll be seeking is their protection, rather than coming into the realization that we possess everything that we need to protect ourselves. One question, somewhat of a debate that I had with someone that I know personally was in regards to what would a melanated person do, okay? Because I personally don't agree with this system. I don't agree with the structure. I know that it was all built on criminality. And so when it comes to the melanated man, woman, and child, it's to the point where it is dangerous even to dial 911, right? But the question that we had, that this discussion that we was having was, well, if you can't call 911, because this person was adamant, well, you shouldn't call them, don't include them in your business. And so I, as a melanated woman, said, well, who should we call? Who should we call then? When crime is being committed, who do we call? And so this is where the pulse check is happening. Are they ready to govern themselves? Are they afraid to step into their power and their own authority? Or do they still have Stockholm Syndrome? Pulse check. Is Stockholm Syndrome still very much so alive? Are they still going to come begging the captor to protect them? Are they still going to come crawling to us? Will they come crawling to us on their hands and knees when we tell them that this is the purge? That this is the time to be fearful, that your life can be in jeopardy, your children can be in jeopardy, your whole safety and every part of your community is in jeopardy, because we have to hold ourselves back. We can't arrest someone that's robbing you. We can't detain someone that is battering you. So the question is, who do we call? And this is where we have to start stepping into our purpose. If you believe that a part of your position in the body, when I speak the body, I'm talking about the body of Christ consciousness, or the new kingdom that's being created within, amongst us, within us, and, as a whole, when we all come together, what is your position? Is it to be a foot soldier out here to protect the man, woman, and child? Is it to be the eyes and ears of the community, the watchman who is readily available when someone is in need or someone is in trouble? That's what we need. We need to create and establish our own protection force within our own communities, so that if there is someone, which there always is someone who is acting outside of their own integrity and may decide that they want to commit a crime, that we have people within our community that we can trust and that we can call on in the event of an emergency. These people are doing a pulse check to see, are they able to come together as a community of people to govern themselves? Because they know that that is what this shift is bringing. This shift that is happening here in the age of Aquarius is bringing people into a space where it's, I am ready to govern myself. I don't need someone else to tell me what integrity looks like. I don't need a criminal system to tell me how to operate and how to take care of my family, or how to teach my children, or how to feed my children, or how to create health for my children. I don't need others telling me how to do this. But they want to see, how much have we truly evolved? And if the majority of the melanated community specifically comes running back to these people, then they know that they still can buy more time. Because 9 times out of 10, the same people that go and complain about this particular so-called policy being enacted will be the same people that are standing in the voting lines at the voting booths, ready to speak their truth through signing on that dotted line to say, I give the U.S. corporation permission to maintain their power over me and my offspring, because I trust that if I stand in this line and I vote, that someone is going to come and act on the behalf of myself and my community, rather than you becoming the change that you want to see, rather than that same melanated man, woman, or man or woman that stands in that line creating the environment that they want to see. To me, it's actually a way of being lazy when it comes to voting, because you end up standing in a line and signing off your signature to give someone else the authority to enact something that you yourself choose not to create. You go and you vote for someone in hopes, because you know that just because you give them your signature and your vote does not guarantee that they will actually fulfill the promises that they have told to the public. You only go in there and you cross your fingers and hope that your vote will count. But if we did this the proper way, then we would say, all of those policies, all of those laws that I want these people to abide by or to create on behalf of myself and my community, rather than asking them to do this for us, we need to be establishing leaders that are going to actually step forward and to create these things for our own community. Are you ready to self-govern is the question. So yes, they're going to use they're going to use fear and religion, okay? You also have here, okay, yeah, look at this. So bottom of the deck, it says DNA, and then it says go back to sleep. So they really want to see, has your DNA activated? Because this is the time of DNA activation. Has your DNA activated? Because in the process, when you awaken out of sleep, you spiritually awaken, as above, so below. So spiritually you're awakened, so below will be your physical vessel. Okay, as within, so without. So those that part of you, they say that 98% of the DNA is junk DNA, is dormant DNA. In the age of Aquarius, in the time of the awakening, the more that you evolve and come into an understanding spiritually, the more that your DNA awakens. Again, we're moving into year number 7, which is the number of spirituality. And so they want to put you back to sleep. They want to cradle you and rock you back to sleep through the energy of fear and through the energy of the religious structure. They're going to use certain religious leaders. Look, watch and see them come forward. Watch and see them come forward, because what they might also do is create scenarios of crime. These people are very strategic and trust and believe that before they announced this to the public, they had a plan. And like I said, an agenda behind an agenda behind an agenda. So they may even create scenarios of crime in specific communities so that people will come marching in and demanding that they implement or reinforce the previous statutes and policies that they had in place before they created this one. It's the reverse psychology of the enemy to put you back to sleep, to prevent your DNA activation and to incite fear so that you will beg your enemy. Stockholm Syndrome is what they are checking for. Don't be fooled. Do not walk around believing the hype, okay? These people are letting you know in so many words that they have to release their grip. They are losing their positions of power. And so it's going to start happening across the nation where you see that different states are going to start enacting this particular policy, or they're going to start coming forward and acting like they're enacting some sort of policy. But the fact of the matter is they got to stand down, because too many of us spiritual warriors have stepped in and said, we are not going to continue to be the slave to your system. We are pulling ourselves out of the system. We are creating our sovereignty in the spiritual realm. And so, of course, as above, so below. You created in the spiritual realm, it has to unfold and manifest in the physical. And so these people are feeling the impact of the works that we have been doing here. But this is their way of letting us know that they're losing their power, but also at the same time, they're watching to see how many people are going to be affected by it, how many people are going to be in an energy of fear as a result of it, and how many people are going to come back begging them to protect. Okay, so we have reparations coming out here, and then we have stand up at the bottom of the deck here. So reparations, these people know that they owe us a lot. They owe us more than they can actually afford to give us. That's a fact. And so I feel like, they want to put you back to sleep. They want to put us back to sleep through this energy of fear, because they know that the more we awaken, the more we're going to demand what is rightfully ours. That is a part of our inheritance, what is inherently ours. Because the fact of the matter is, our ancestors built every part of their structure. Every part of their structure, our ancestors built it. And so because our ancestors built it, then technically they have the right and the authority over it. And so because we are the offspring of our ancestors, we inherently gain those things that they built, which is the whole entire country. Okay? And so these people, the only thing they can do is release their grip and give us the sovereignty that we always deserve, that should have never been stripped from us. But because we was in a sleep state, it gave them the permission. We was so asleep that we started walking in lines to go and sign off to give them permission to keep their foot over our necks for another generation and another one and another one. That's how sleep and mentally messed up we was. That's how much that Stockholm Syndrome has set in. Like it was deeply embedded in our roots, to the point where, my generation, like the generation prior to me, you had those parents where it was like, if you said you didn't vote, they was all up in your face about that. What do you mean you're not going to vote when your ancestors, they struggled and they fought to be integrated. They fought to have a right to go to schools with the Europeans, and they fought for the right to drink from the same water fountains. Well, I beg to differ, because sometimes you got to recognize that in a sleep state, your ancestors, they might have fought a good fight, but they was fighting for the wrong reasons. You don't never fight to integrate with people that don't want no bother with you. How foolish is that? A sane-minded person would never fight to become friends with somebody who clearly does not want to befriend them. But see, we thought that if we fought for that right, it was the reverse psychology of the enemy. The enemy had already implanted within our minds that if you don't have the right to do what we are doing over here, then technically you are less than. But the fact of the matter was, when we was doing our own thing and creating Black Wall Streets and building our own banks and having our own school systems and all of these things, we was thriving absent the integration. It wasn't until the integration took place that we stopped thriving. okay? Because we no longer worked in unison as a group of people, as a community of people, and many of the things that we knew in terms of our culture and our belief systems got watered down and whitewashed and diluted with corruption and poison of people who never wanted to be a part of our community in the first place. Now, am I saying that all Europeans are bad? Absolutely not. But what I am saying is that this current structure, the U.S. corporation, was created by very corrupt and poisoned Europeans. And that many of them went on to create offspring who also was raised up and reared up in that same mindset. And so there is, a line that needs to be drawn when it comes to the integration until the majority of the Europeans can admit to the fact that what has happened to the melanated man, woman, and child, there needs to be recompense for it. Reparations are well deserved. And anyone that says, well, no, that's the past, they don't need, then I guess you would say the same thing when something happens to your offspring or to your family member, and you say, well, that happened 20 years ago. So just because you murdered my mom 20 years ago doesn't mean that you should go to jail today. No, they're going to always seek for justice. You're going to always seek for justice on behalf of your loved one that was wronged or murdered or kidnapped, whatever the case may be. You will always seek for the scales to be balanced. That's human nature. And so for anyone to say that the melanated man, woman, and child does not deserve recompense for the things, the atrocities of what happened to our ancestors, you have to be very blind, and you have to still be in that white privilege mindset. There has to be a fear that if the melanated community receives what they rightfully deserve, there must be a fear that we're going to rise and rise and rise and create a kingdom that becomes a new Egypt, or a new empire, something that's going to be so powerful that these people are going to feel inferior to it. That must be the fear in order for someone to say that reparations is not necessary. And so they want to put you back to sleep so that the majority of our community of people, as we go into that energy of seeking more, seeking out answers, seeking clarity, and seeking truth, the majority of the people who come into awakening comes to the conclusion that we deserve our inheritance. We deserve our birthright. We deserve our sovereignty. We deserve our reparations. So as long as you're in that energy of being asleep, you're just going to go right with the flow. Oh, it was nothing. That was my ancestors. This is a new day and age. We can't punish them for what they did to our ancestors, but yet and still, you're still being punished for what happened to your ancestors. You're still bearing the burden of what your ancestors was not able to pass on to you because they lacked it, whether it's mentally, spiritually, financially, or physically. They was not able to give it to you because it was stripped from them. Meanwhile, your oppressor has taken everything that belonged to your ancestors, and they're able to rise up. They're able to thrive and to pass on to their offspring everything that should have been inherently passed on to you. And so this is why it's important to balance the scales, because until those scales are balanced, nothing will be right on the planet, within the cosmos, within the nature, the elements. Nothing will be right or balanced until justice is served for those who wronged our people here on this soil as well as across the globe. Okay? So what is the agenda of this Safety Act in Illinois? We're seeing the deeper meaning behind this. Black woman. Right behind that at the bottom of the deck is destruction. Okay? So I strongly feel like I said, a lot of this has to do with the melanated community. This is, they're doing this because when that bill was signed, if you looked at it when he was signing the bill, who was standing around that particular which you might call political leader or whatever you call political legislator? I don't know these people, okay? I don't keep up with no politics. I don't know their names. I barely know the name of the doggone president because it ain't my damn president, okay? But whoever he was that was signing that act or the bill, everyone that stood around him that was clapping for it was melanated people, because they needed to put our faces behind this person to say, look at what we're doing for you. Look at how much we care about your people. We're going to enact a bill that says that we can no longer just detain you and enslave you in our system. You know, it's all reverse psychology of the enemy. Okay? And so that way, once you believe that they have some love for you and they have some care for you, then you become that much more comfortable with voting for them or giving them permission to maintain their position of power, because in your mind, in your sleep state, you believe, oh, well, they're changing. Oh, you know, they're not a bad person anymore. This system is not bad anymore, because now they're starting to show melanated people that they love us. They're starting to show us that they care about our safety. But it's a lie, because if they truly cared or loved us, all of those billions of dollars that they just sent out to Ukraine and all of these different wars that these people fund, and then when you look at us, we right here on this land, on this soil, and these people would not give us a dime. They won't even let you get a car for free. They won't even let you go and get your education for free. Okay? These people will not give us any part of what we deserve. But we think that because they bring a stack of papers with some words on it, and they have somebody with a fancy pen and a suit on, and he's sitting there signing something and saying, look at what we're doing for the people. Look at what we're doing for your people specifically. Because see, the subliminal message behind that was to target the melanated man and woman, to grab the attention of the melanated man and woman. And that's why he was surrounded by melanated people who was clapping for him as he signed the bill. Pay attention to what these people do, because there's always an agenda behind visual aids, okay? They know that the mind pays more attention to the visual aids than it does to what's being spoken through the mouth. And what's going to be remembered more so is what goes through the eyes, okay? And so there was a subliminal message behind that. This bill or this new policy was created to grab the trust of the melanated man and woman so that they can continue to receive our permission to keep us enslaved in their system. And so the black woman comes out here, black woman, and what was the one at the bottom, I believe it said destruction. They specifically, the black woman, the melanated woman, when it comes to the police force, okay? Just like I told you all, with me and that person having that conversation in regards to who should a person call. So if you have a melanated woman that's being battered by a man, but she knows that the same people that she might call are actually more harmful than they are protection. They will bring more harm than protection. They will do more bad than good. Then who does that melanated woman call in her need of help? They want specifically to create fear within the melanated woman. Okay? And so this is where we need our kings and our gods of our community to step up and to say, I volunteer myself to be of service. If something happens, I want to be on the front line to come in and help you. Because one of the issues that we have within the melanated community is this code of silence. That is one of the worst things that could have ever happened to us, because too many people turned a blind eye and ear, a deaf ear, when they hear somebody going through, situations. You hear somebody just right down the street or right next door to you screaming and hollering to the top of your lungs, and you won't do nothing about it. You say, I'm not going to get involved in that. That's none of my business. I don't have nothing to do with that. That person could be over there completely dead and gone, and you will still say it's none of my business. And this is one of the problems of our community. No one is willing to step in to help the next person because it's this code of silence. And so this is one of the things that we have to overcome and that we have to break free from so that we can begin to govern ourselves. Because there's always going to be crime committed. It doesn't matter what's going on. Crime will still continue, but there has to be people within our own community that's willing to step in and to be the leaders and the protectors and the enforcers of true law in order for us to establish a new kingdom. And so, like I said, these people are doing a pulse check to see, are you going to protect your women? Are you going to protect your children? Or are you going to come running back to us saying, we are dependent on you. You have done a great job in creating a codependency that we have on you. The Stockholm Syndrome is very much so full and in effect. And we give you permission. We will vote. We will stand in your lines. Just please, please, please don't take these corrupt police officers away from us, because we ain't going to step up and do it for them. We ain't going to step up and protect our own people. That's what they want you to do. Do not fall for it, okay? So let me pull from my other book because time is going. I want to look into my 48 Laws of Power just to see what is the agenda of the Safety Act. Okay, what do we need to know? Okay, what is the message here? Okay, so the first thing that I'm coming to is, I turned the page to this one. It says recreate yourself. For those of you who might have this book, it's on page 191, and it says judgment. So let me read what it says. It says, do not accept the roles that society foist on you. Recreate yourself by forging a new identity, one that commands attention and never bores the audience. Be the master of your own image rather than letting others define it for you. Incorporate dramatic devices into your public gestures and actions. Your power will be enhanced and your character will seem larger than life. Okay? So recreating yourself. So this is a tactic for them to recreate themselves, to make the world believe, or to make, at least starting with Illinois, but of course they know that the world is actually paying attention. You know, all of America is tuning in to see what this is really about, right? The so-called purge, okay? So do not accept the roles that society foist on you. And so this is them trying to say, okay, well, we're no longer going to be in this role or this position of enforcing law. We're going to step back off of it. We're going to take our foot off the brake a little bit, right? So they're going to recreate themselves by forging a new identity. Oh, we're doing a new thing. We're going to do this for the sake of the people, right? We're coming in with a new identity, one that attracts attention, one that commands attention and never bores the audience. So when you say never bores the audience, then this is an act, okay? This is an act. These people are doing something to really draw in the attention, just to see what is going to be the response. Again, it is a pulse check, because fact of the matter is, these people know that they have lost their position of power. And so they have to see, how will those here on American soil react to them lifting their hand up off of this, off of the masses, taking a step back and saying, well, we no longer have permission to do this or that in the event that this or that takes place. This is them showing that a so-called recreation of themselves. Be the master of your own image rather than letting others define it for you. Incorporate dramatic devices into your public gestures and actions. And so this is dramatic. This is all drama, okay? It's a dramatic gesture, because now here comes certain people that's a part of this legislation, certain people that's a part of the police force, certain people that's speaking on behalf of these judges and, people that's a part of this judicial system. Well, if they do this, then we can no longer protect them. This is going to really create a true purge. Everybody is going to be in danger. This is all a dramatic act to incite fear. Okay. Your power will be enhanced and your character will seem larger than life. And so this enhances their power. Why? Because it buys them a little bit more time. They're showing you that they're losing their authority, right? but they're hoping that as a result of this enhances their character. And so if the crime rate begins to increase, it will make people think, well, we was, I guess they wasn't so bad after all. I guess the police force, specifically the melanated people, they want us to say this. I guess they wasn't so bad after all because we were safer, when they was roaming the streets and detaining people. Even if they hadn't committed the crime, at least we noticed sometimes they got the real bad guy. And even though they was killing off most of our people, at least we know we could have called them in a state of emergency. So, it enhances their character and makes them seem larger than life. Okay, but it's an illusion is what they're trying to create for you by creating this very dramatic way of, or dramatic device is what this says, incorporating a dramatic device for the public, for the audience. So that's what I'm seeing there. I'm going to read this over here on this side because I'm being drawn to read this. It says, courtiers are like magicians. They deceptively play with appearances, only letting those around them see what they want them to see. With so much deception and manipulation afoot, it is essential to keep people from seeing your tricks and glimpsing your sleight of hand. Okay? And so this is a trickery. This is an illusion. This is an act that's being created for the public. They don't want you to see their hand. They don't want you to see the true agenda behind what they are doing. And so they deceptively play with appearances, only letting those around them see what they want them to see. So they let you see what they want you to see. Not the fact that they're truly losing their power, but they let you see, okay, but if they play this subliminal acts. If we lose our power, look at how out of control the world will become. You need our system. You need us, okay? And so they create these illusions through a sleight of hand. Keep this in mind as we progress into 2023. Know that we are moving into year 7, where this will be the time of seeking here in the age of Aquarius, and where many truths will have to be revealed because you are seeking the truth. Do not get deterred from your path, and know that we are moving into a position of self-governing ourselves. And this is why it's so important for each individual person to do the work to heal, to align yourself, so that you are not a ticking time bomb, so that you are not in a position where something comes in and rocks you and you ready to go and commit a crime or a criminal act against another person as a result of that. When you are able to alchemize and transmute energy and you create that balance and that peace within yourself, you do not need any other person to govern you, because you become more than equipped to govern yourself. And in that energy, you also become a leader when you can also help govern others, because you operate from a space of integrity and honor in that energy. So that's what I have for you all. Just know that there's always an agenda behind the agenda. And so this is my perception of what this safety law is to incite fear, but it is really the true message behind it is that these people are losing their power. So if you ask me, it's a time to celebrate. I don't know about your neighbor. I don't know about the people that you're talking to or the people that you're seeing on social media, but do not become brainwashed and tricked by the sleight of hand of the magician. I love you all. If you want a private reading from me, email me. If you want to order my body oils or my hair oils, email me, and I will talk to you all next time.